Assalamualaikum. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you so much and congratulations for attending this workshop of Advanced in Writing Systematic Literature Review and Meta-Analysis with Dr. Muhammad Imran Qureshi. Well, he is the founder of Connecting Asia and currently working as senior lecturer at Universiti Teknikal Malaysia Melaka. So without further ado, let's watch the video or biography of our founder.
Good afternoon and very warm welcome to 6th Asia International Conference 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our next speaker whose name is worth of 1,000 million conversation. I'm honored and privileged to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Muhammad Imran Qureshi, the founding director of Connecting Asia, founding director of Scholars Asia, president the APRA, and chairperson of INEX. Dr. Muhammad Imran Qureshi is a leading researcher, a true visionary leader with a dynamic personality. He is featured among the world's top 2% scientists, listed by prestigious Stanford University. He previously teaches at COMSATS University, Pakistan, and currently he is serving at Universiti Teknikal Malaysia Melaka. He is an enthusiastic academician in the field of operational management. Dr. Qureshi has the ability to adopt new skill sets to sustain in the competitive era. He also has the potential to transfer knowledge to his students using practical pedagogy methodologies. He is specialist in the field of structural equation modeling using AMOS, smart PLS, and quantitative data analysis using NVivo. True education comes from a passion for learning, and Dr. Imran Qureshi does believe these words by heart, as his work is published in world-renowned journals in the area of operational management, environmental management, sustainability, and organizational behavior. So, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming our man of the hour, Dr. Muhammad Imran Qureshi.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, my dear students, my fellows, my colleagues, all wherever you are joining me from different part of the world. Thank you very much for joining us for today's session. Today, basically, it is a very critical time when we are writing about our research papers or our introduction to our research. So at that time, we will learn about the literature review, how we write literature review and how we do systematic literature review. I have done a series of workshops on how to write systematic literature review paper. Based on those, many of my students have sent me a lot of queries, a lot of questions. Based on those questions, I decided to do this workshop. It would be a very brief workshop where we are going to discuss about very basic issues of systematic literature reviews. And this systematic literature reviews may be in continuation with our previous workshop with my students where we discuss about how to do a literature review and simple steps. So this would be advances in systematic literature review. I would be more focused and maybe it would be a short workshop of 30 to 45 minutes where I'm going to teach you two very important skills to do a systematic literature review. So let's start without any further delay. Advances in writing a systematic literature review. So we have to learn about how we can write, but there are some questions which I'm going to ask you or tell you while I'm starting my presentation at that time. And this session may be more focused on the practical side because there are few parts we are going to do online. So that's why everybody please, if you have any query, any question, you can write me in the comments. At the end of this session, we will take your questions. Okay, let's start for today. Now today, it's a very simple, very important topic and there would be three major learning outcomes for this session. The first learning outcome is basically how to do systematic literature review, the basics of systematic literature review, which we have already covered in the previous classes or in the previous workshops. But here I'm going to start with a very clear research question. So those who don't know how to write a very clear research question or how to write a very good literature review, they can see my videos of systematic literature review, which I have already provided in the descriptions. Okay, so you can see those links. So we are going to revise couple of part from that videos where I'm going to tell you what are the basic steps for doing a systematic literature review, and then in the next step we are going to learn about the search of databases. Especially today I'm going to focus on ISI Web of Science. Okay, previously we have already covered with the systematic literature review part about the Scopus, and the link is already available in the description. So we are very clear about the Scopus part. And the most important thing is those who don't have access to the ISI Web of the Sciences, they can use similar metrics or similar pattern to search your queries on Google Scholar. So it is almost similar, but we have to learn the basic understandings. Okay, so this is the first thing. Why I choose this? Because most of my students, when they do their research, they ask me whether we can prepare a literature review table, how easily I can prepare, and they are doing it in a different way that is very difficult for me. They are reading every article and then bringing it to the table and extracting that part. So that is a difficult method. So today I'm going to teach you a very simple method through which you can create your own literature review table with the customized options. Okay, so the basic learning, the first objective would be understanding of basic systematic literature reviews. Then we are going to learn about Web of Science, ISI Web of Science, how this database works and how we can use it for our research purposes. And believe me, it's outstanding, awesome. So you will going to learn a lot of new techniques in this. Okay, and you will play with it later on, and you can craft your literature easily after learning these techniques. Okay, finally I'm going to tell you, if time allowed me, I'm going to tell you how you can create data tables or systematic literature review table easily, step by step, from the data you extracted from the Web of Science. So it would be linked. So first we are going to extract the data, and the second part we are going to use it in the Microsoft Excel to formulate different types of the tables and figures easily. Okay, you have different options, but today we will be focusing on how easily you can do that and how Word or PowerPoint and Excel can help you in crafting your literature review tables. Okay, this is very important for all of the researcher. When you are writing any systematic literature review, you have to present it in a way people should listen and people should understand your question or your work. We have done a couple of papers which I have already provided in the description, so you can download those papers and read, and you can follow my steps step by step. This is what we use in those papers. Okay, it is already published in Impact Factor Journal, so you can use this. Okay, so let's move to the next point. So today we are going to learn three major or important things. The first, basics of systematic literature review, which I believe every one of us is already aware of. Those who are not aware, they can see my previous videos and they can learn how to do basic systematic literature review step by step. The second one, I am going to focus on Web of Sciences, ISI indexing, and there are many ISI collections, so we can use those collections to search our literature and to refine and finally to extract data. And the next step would be to present that data in the form of table. For that we are going to use Microsoft Excel. Okay, so this is what I'm going to teach you today. So please make sure you are following me step by step and learning. If there is any query, you can post in the question box. Okay, let's Let's start. So, is it okay? Everybody can hear me? Okay, now let's try to understand what is the systematic literature review process. A very simple but a brief slide in which I'm going to tell you what are the different steps of systematic literature review. I'm not going to take a lot of time on this part, but I will give you a brief overview of systematic literature review. For those who are new to my lecture series, they should understand how we can do systematic literature review. And this is available in many other speakers workshops also. So this is the simple and straight method. Everybody is using this method, so there is nothing new, but still we need to learn. Okay, so let's see. The first thing, if you see in the literature review, the first thing is formulating your research question. The second one is search relevant literature, refine your search, analyze and synthesis, finally finding, and then improve your findings. So this is 5-step simple model in order to understand the systematic literature review process. So first we have to craft or we have to define our research question very simply and very clearly. This is where most of the researchers, they do mistakes. That is what I focus with my students. So you have to clarify your research question. Most of the time we have to revise it and refine it to make it a very perfect research question where we can use it in order to search relevant literature. Okay, so if your research question is not okay, is not fine, is not good, so you would not be able to figure out what is the relevant literature that can address your research question. Okay, so most important part here is your research question. Okay, so you have to formulate your research question in a way it is important and it is very clear. Okay, I will tell you some tips. It is already available in my previous videos. So don't include multiple options, multiple variables or multiple concepts in one question. If you have multiple concepts or multiple variables in your study, so please try to break down your literature review process into the parts. Okay, so don't try to do everything together. Okay, this is first thing, defining your research question. The second important part would be search of relevant literature. That is very important, and where this is where mostly our people, they stuck because we don't know how to get the relevant literature review, and most of the time we are using keywords which are maybe not relevant or not accurately defined in your search area. So this is the point where I'm going to focus today, how we can develop search queries and how we can use. And in some cases, some of the literature, I will give you some examples, some of the literature, it is not accessible using the method you are using or keyword you are using. How to get that literature is also important for me. So that is why I want you to learn how we can use different operators, Boolean operators and proximity operators in order to get our relevant search. Okay, so we have to search the relevant literature. So that is important part. And the third, once you are done, you have to refine your search and you have to trim. That is also I'm going to tell you in a way. And once you are done, you have to export your research in Excel sheet using export option from the Web of Sciences, and from there you can do your a lot of work using Microsoft Excel and any other tool. Like we can use bibliometric analysis, we can use NVivo for systematic literature review. There are a lot of options available, but to reach that option you have to export your data sheet into a simple Excel, okay, using Web of Science. I hope most of my students, they have access to the Web of Sciences. Those who are not, please do practice and try to ask your library to provide you the link to the Web of Sciences. If you are not using Web of Sciences, similar operator you can use in the Google Scholar. But obviously there are some limitation on the Google Scholar that I will cover in any other video. But today I would be more focused on Web of Sciences and exporting these results. Okay, and then once you export it, the next option, next method or next point is to analyze and synthesis. Simple analysis techniques are available, or what analysis can be done For this, I have already provided a couple of papers in the description. You can download them and read them, how we did the analysis and synthesis of literature, okay, using different types of the tables. So that is your own creativity, and your knowledge of the subject will be a key to understand how we can develop these different types of the analysis or synthesis, okay. Finally, once you are done, you have to report your findings in research article, or if you are writing your final year project or PhD thesis or master's thesis, you have to report according to the standards of the your thesis. So that I will discuss in any other research workshop. But today we are going to focus on first two part, and the final is you are going to improve your research step by step, okay. So it is not that you have done something one time and you are not going to improve it. The research is a continuous process, so you have to do it again and again, and you have to improve your working, okay. So this is how we have to do our systematic literature review. I hope everybody is understanding my basics. So is there any question from anyone? If not, then just you can type understood, so I can move forward. So this is the first part of my presentation, where I discuss about the basics of systematic literature review. For my students, we have already, in the previous live class, we have already done all these steps. So if you have any query, you can ask me, but I hope so this is very clear, so we can move forward, okay. Now let's try to understand. We are clear about the basics of our systematic literature review, but the most important part when you are writing systematic literature review is your research question, okay. So you have to work with your research question, very important. Let us start with a very clear research question. If you see, most of my students, they know this is a simple research question. I already explained to them many times. That is why I took this example. How digital technologies affected healthcare services? Now this is my research question. But there are two major key terms involved in this research question. If you try to understand, the first key term is digital technologies, and the second one is healthcare. So digital technologies and healthcare, I'm interested to see how digital technologies have improved or any other effects on healthcare services in any country or all around the world. So that is what we have to understand on the systematic literature. So I hope everybody have their research question in their mind. But one very important message, I use only two key terms in one research question, or only one key term, okay. That is the key to do any systematic literature review. Don't include mediator, moderator, or any other types of the variables. You can do it later on in the other search, okay. So first start with a very basic and simple question. Once you learn the process, then you can include other variables also. But I would suggest to keep your research question very simple, okay. This is what we have to learn, okay. So let's start. The research question is clear: digital technologies and how they affect the healthcare services. This is what I want to teach you today, okay. Let's try to conceptualize what types of the words I used in this research question, okay. Remember, none of your keyword is out of your research question. Remember this very important point. I'm telling you again, none of your keywords which you are going to search in the literature should not be out of your research question. So none of your keyword is out of research question. So whatever is written here is coming directly from your research question. So please be careful while you are doing literature review. You should understand you have to define your research question very clearly, and then later on you have to define your keyword. The more clear is your research question, the more clear are your keywords, and the more clear your keywords are, it would be easier for you to do your research or to craft your systematic literature review. So let's start. Again, let's try to understand, keep that keywords in your mind: digital technologies and healthcare services. So what can be the word? If I use a single word, when I need to enter a single word, I don't need to use inverted commas in any databases. Okay, so I can use this word digital, I can use this word technologies, or I can use this word healthcare services or healthcare. Okay, now this is simply, we can add one more keyword, healthcare or services, but still it is fine. So digital, technologies and healthcare, there are three keywords. Now important point is, my first keyword is digital technologies. It not only digital and technologies, it is digital technologies. So that is why I put inverted commas when I'm doing research. But here I have a question. Don't you think there are some research article, they would not use this word digital technologies? For example, in the case of healthcare, let us consider few articles, they put digital healthcare technologies. Now what do you think? Is it a correct title? I think many of the research article, if you see, they are using this keyword or this word. They are not using digital technologies together. They are using digital healthcare technologies, digital business technologies, digital economic technologies. So all these are titles of the different papers. So when you search digital technologies with inverted commas, it means it is an error, it is a mistake. Why it is a mistake? In this case, these articles who are writing digital healthcare technologies will not appear in your search. But in my opinion, they are the most relevant paper to your systematic literature review. So now you understand, when we are writing literature review, the keywords are very important and the combination of the keywords are very important. So what to do? How we can solve this issue? That is what I'm going to teach you today, how we can settle these types of the issue and we can extract the most relevant literature from the Web of Science or any other databases. Okay, so this is the combination of words. So your keywords can be single, your keywords can be the combination of words, and finally we can use Boolean operators. Everybody knows that, most of us, we are familiar when we are using this and, or, and. These are called Boolean operators. So Boolean operators can be used in any arrangement in all over the different types of the databases. You can use them. Okay, so there is no problem with that. But how we use them is very important. For example, I am interested in digital technologies. That's why I put inverted commas around digital technology. But most importantly, healthcare. So digital technologies in healthcare. So what system will do? System will return us all those papers which have digital technologies and healthcare in any of their titles or abstracts or anywhere. So this is what we need to learn from today's class. Okay, how we can use these Boolean operators and how we can solve that technical issue which I told you while you are doing your search. If the keyword arrangement is not correct, so what we can do for that. Okay, now I hope so everybody is clear on this. So what would be the different types of databases? We can use Scopus, which I have already covered in the previous slides or in the previous presentations, which I have already provided the link in the descriptions. Okay, but now let's see Web of Sciences, a very important point. So Web of Sciences, how we can settle with the Web of Sciences now. So this is the overview of search optimize or search engine of the Web of Sciences. So if you go to this website, I will provide you link. Sorry, I have not provided that link in the description, but I will provide at the end of this presentation. So what you need to do is you need to understand the basics of these the different part of this search engine. So let's just try to see how we can use these. But this is, if you see, this is your search query. Okay, so here you need to put your query and then you have to click the search button the way we do in the Scopus. It is same, but we can use Boolean operators. I will tell you how to use it, and which we know already, or not. So these are three Boolean operators we can use. For example, I want to see digital technologies and healthcare. Okay, but I can use this query also, digital and digital or technology. So it will give me either digital or technology. So the paper which are listed as a digital or technology. For example, I can use this final Boolean operator not. For example, I'm interested in digital technologies, but not in management, for example, or not in business. So digital technologies, not business. So it means that it will give you all those papers which do not include management in their keywords or in their title or in their abstract. So that is how we use our Booleans. That is, I think we have already covered in the previous class also. Okay, so you can practice it. We will do that also. Now there are two more important operators which I hope so many of us we don't know how to use them, but they are very important, and especially where we have these type of difficulties. You have difficulties in finding out your relevant literature or to access your relevant literature. These operators are not being used widely. The first is called same. You can use, how we are going to use it I will tell you, but this is very important operator for systematic literature review. So you can use this same, and you can use this near. So near is more related to location. For example, I want to see the publisher in one country or near to other countries, so we can use that near operation for this. But the same operator is very important for today's workshop, so we have to focus. We are going to focus this same operator and how we can use it. Okay, so let me just conclude before we going to practical session. Boolean operators, there are three: and, or, not, and we have same and near. Okay, so keep in mind, because next we are going to do this practical, how we can use these operators in practice. Okay, let me switch to the desktop mode. So maybe there would be some technical issues. If just allow me for a moment to set in my. Okay, now we are here. I think we are on. Okay, Web of Sciences. Okay. Just one moment, let me settle with this. Okay, we are on now. I hope so everybody can see this, the basic search option. Let me just get you to this very clearly. Okay, now if you see, we are at this Web of Sciences search. Now we have different types of the option. If you see here, we have this one is basically your query, where you can insert your query. For example, if I want to write digital, so you can write this. If I want to include, sorry for my spell mistakes, it's always there, so bear with me. Okay, now this is how we use our text query. Okay, this is your search option. This is called basic search. Okay, if I want to change the time span, you can see option here. This is the option for time span, so you can use this to figure out the article which you want to make it a very maybe 1 year or 2 years. Okay, not very old papers or something like this, or you want to make other adjustments also. So you have more setting options. So in the more setting, the Web of Science core collection consists of the following databases. So you can use all these databases to search your relevant literature. So for now, I'm not going into the details of each of them, but each of them is significant. So we have to understand, but later on I will try to cover this because a lot of stuff I have to finish in one hour. It is difficult. So that is why I just leave it right now and move to our first query. So our first query, as I mentioned, digital technologies, and I just click search. Okay, now you can see the options are there now. The database is already showing us there are more than 8,133 articles. Okay, the results. Now this is first list, and you can see all these papers are here. Okay, so if you want to use all these most cited, usage counted, a lot of options available. But let me show you a very quick analysis of the result, which is not done by us. It is directly done by the Web of Science. It's awesome. So you can see a lot of options there, and we can play with those options later on. Okay, but let me show you how this database works. So if you see the result, this is what you can see. Okay, so this is the area. So most of the research done on the digital technologies is educational research. So means that the mostly published paper are on education, the use of digital technologies in education. And I hope so this is very clear, because nowadays everybody is teaching through online, and even we are dealing with this. So even in the current situation, what we are doing now is true reflections of digital technologies in education. So this is how your literature have been segmented. So you can see the different clusters, and you can click and go to any cluster, and it will give you the information. If you click on that particular, it will show you that view record, so you can go to that particular stage also. For example, if I'm just working in education, so digital technologies in education here, digital technologies in computer science here, digital technologies in management here, economics, interdisciplinary application. And so if I'm working on, for example, healthcare is not here, but it gives me another option. For example, I'm not interested in this one, I'm not interested in the management, I'm not interested in computer science method, I'm not interested in business. So what else I'm interested? Okay, library science I'm not interested, but here computer science interdisciplinary application. So that is where I can find out my relevant literature. So I will just directly go to this record rather than going to the different options. Okay, so this is first, I just give you a very simple example. You can play with these options. There are a lot of options available. For example, publication years. So you can check. Okay, now this is the data based on the publication year. You can directly download or import these tables and chart directly from Web of Sciences. So that is why it is very organized and very important database. Okay, that is why it is the most prestigious website or most prestigious databases among the researcher in the world. Okay, so this is how you work. Okay, now for example, this one, you see document type, organization, authors. So if I want to find out who is the best author in the field of digital technologies, the many people will obviously claim that they are very expert, but in the particular field you can figure out this, how a particular author have done his work, and you can directly go to his paper. Okay, so now it gives you a lot of options. I'm not going to play with these options today. I'm on to something different, but still there is a lot of options available. You want to see countries, region, everything is there. Okay, so you can trim your data, you can change the result. For example, I'm interested only in 2 years, so that I can just select only those 2 years and exclude rest of the years. Okay, now let me just go to the point again, because it's a huge database with a lot of options. I don't want to waste your time or energies into something different which we are not going to cover today. So I will try to cover in any other video how we can work with the Web of Sciences. But now I'm interested again in a very simple thing, which is basically about your query. So you have seen I used digital technologies and I received how many results? 8,133 results. Okay, so this is what I received from this. Okay, now these results contain everything regarding digital technology. So no matter it is with the healthcare, business, or anything, let us try to refine our keywords or search more. Okay, now here I want to introduce to you this option. We call it advanced research. Okay, advanced search. So let's move to this point. This is very important and very useful technique where you can use a lot of work, or you can do a lot of work, and you can, for me, I think you can save a lot of your time, because we use these options to get to the right, okay, relevant or right literature. So what I'm going to tell you is the Booleans are here. You can use these all. I will tell you how to use it. But in the field, you have to write these queries. So you have to include that query. For example, if I'm going to search digital technologies, but only in the title, not anything else. So I'm interested where digital technologies are the title of the paper. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to write TI equal to, I can use the bracket, but it's not necessary for this operator, but the later we have to use. Okay, now I'm interested on okay. Now TI is equal to digital technologies. If you see here, TI is title. Okay, so it means that it will give you all those articles in which the digital technologies are in the title. It is same which we have covered in the Scopus. I'm just going through it quickly so you can use it. But here you can use, for example, which language? All language? No, I'm interested in English only, and I'm interested in articles only. So you can select these two options, and then you can search your options. Okay, now if you see, it gives me all the history of the queries I used on the Web of Sciences. But here the last one is this, where I used digital technologies in there, and there are only 535 or 37 paper. Now this 500 articles are manageable, and if you see, you can see highlighted digital technologies in all the titles. Okay, but this 537 article we can manage. That is what I understand from this. If we reduce our search like this, we can use this. But here again, that query, that very important point. Now if we use this query, we don't have this digital healthcare technologies or digital business technologies or all this. So this is showing us only article with the digital technology. But there may be a possibility in between these digital and technologies, there should be some other words. I'm not sure what type of words that can be, but obviously different types of the journal have different, or different types of the article have different keywords between these two. Different authors may be using different types of the keywords between these two. For example, digital healthcare technologies, digital business technologies. So all these are possibilities. Now the important thing is this, how we can overcome this challenge. This is very important while you are doing research. So we have to collect the relevant or most relevant literature. So this is where we can use the query same. Okay. Okay, let's try it again. Now I say digital, then I'm using this operator same, and then technologies. Now if you search, the result would be different. Sorry for this. Okay, digital technologies. Okay, now if you see this search, it shows us the paper with the digital, same with the technologies. Okay, now it's a lot of number. Let's just use this one. I'll show you once the query is running. I'll show you what does it mean. Now you can see the number is very much decreased. If we use this same query, for example, I'm just copying this here and going into advanced search, because it is testing all over your article, not only in the title. So I'm interested to see this in the title, but I think I have to use this. Without this, I think there may be not possible. Okay, it should be used like this, okay. Okay, now we are in. So only 19 articles have been found. Okay, now if you see, what I use is basically the same query is doing one thing. It is testing the digital technologies, but if digital and technologies are not with the same option. Okay, now for example, if I'm not using any backslash or anything, okay, you can see this query now. So the same option, what it is doing, I'm interested in finding out digital and technologies, but no matter they are coming together or at some distance, but these two words must be in the your title. Okay, so this is how it used. So it is looking at the title with the digital. Same means that if we are not using any backslash, it will see up to the 15 words. How many? 15 words. Within that next 15 words, there should be technologies. Okay. So this is how we use this same function. The same function, again, it is telling us whether our search, digital and technologies, these two words are together or they are apart. For example, if I am using /1, so it means that there should be only one word maximum between these two words. If I am using it two, it can be the two words between these. Or maybe if I am using \15 or /15, it means that the maximum number of words between a, digital and technologies can be the 15. So in that 15 words, he is going to give us the result and we can use this. Okay. Now, in this case, if we are using these digital technologies and same function, now every article which is on the digital technologies on any other option, they are already part of your search. Okay. So that is how you can cover. For example, here you can see a very good example. Now if you see, it search digital and it search technologies, but there is another word between these two. This is health. So this is how we can do our search, or we can refine our search. So same function is very important and it will give you ability to use this function, and you can search the relevant literature no matter your keywords are coming together or there are few words between those keywords. Now this is where I give you a very simple example. Digital health technologies, digital business technologies, all areas are covered now. Okay. So this is the same function. Okay. So what is the query Boolean operator? Same. Now let's try to figure out how we can develop different types of the tables directly from this part. I hope so up till here everybody is clear. Is there any question? If question, we will take it at the end, but still I think most of us, we are clear. We have learned about the and or not in the previous classes also, and there are many online tutorial available where you can learn how you can use. But the same option, the same operator, I'm using it to figure out, especially when we are doing something like digital technologies, sustainable manufacturing. So sustainable, there may be another keyword between these two keywords, sustainable and manufacturing. So I don't want to lose those articles which are directly relevant to my study, but still they are not part of my search. Okay. So by doing this same function, you can do your search. Okay. Let's move to the next point quickly, so I can give you a brief overview how we can export. So just click on this option, export to export. It will give you different option. Export to Excel, I'm doing it for 500 options, 500 records, because it Web of Science allow us to capture only 500, and the data I'm going to extract the full records. So you have option, either you just take author title source abstract, or full record, but here I'm taking full record. Okay. Now full record, and then I click on export button. Now you will see an Excel sheet appears to be downloaded. This is our data which I have directly exported from Web of Sciences. Okay, clear? Now let's move. This data is very important. I'm not going into the details how you can use this Excel sheet to create your different types of the themes, which this part I have already covered. So if you have any difficulty, you can see my previous videos available. So no problem with that. Now let's quickly go to one option which is very useful for all our research community. This is, if you go to Insert tab in the Excel sheet, and then you have this option pivot chart. Okay, so this one is the option. So you click here, it will give you options. So save document on different sheet, I'm okay with that. So you just click on this. Now we are into another Excel sheet with a lot of options available for us to create different types of the tables and figures. Okay, table, figures and charts. So this is called pivot table. Now directly we can do a lot of things, but obviously I took data directly from Web of Science and I'm using it to develop different types of the option. But in your case, you have to learn how to trim the data, how to use different types of the options, how to create reading by reading just the abstract of the paper, how to classify different articles into different and remove the irrelevant material. So this is, I think, very important part when you are doing your research. Okay, but this is I have already covered, so you can learn from the previous videos also. But here I'm interested, for example, you can see a lot of options here and we can use these options to create any type of the tables and figures. So let me just give you one or two options here. Okay, for example, I'm here. I bring this research areas. Now you can see a lot of research areas are here. I'm interested to see different types of the research areas. So what I did, I just selected this research areas and drag it to the x-axis in the pivot table. Now table is ready. Now you can do whatever you want to do. For example, the research areas are obviously agriculture. So I can see 3 total articles are there. Then we have agriculture and computer science, agriculture with the other options, and then you have a lot of different options available. I'm interested, for example, here, this is the business and economics. So I want to see the effect of digital technologies on the business and economics. So I don't want to see all other papers. So I just want to see what are these 40 papers. So what I'm going to do is this 40, I'm just going to double click this 40. Okay, now you see another table have been created. Okay, and this table consists of those 40 papers which have been listed under the business and management. Okay, now you can work on this table also. Okay, so this is how we can use these options of pivot table in our research, especially while we are doing systematic literature review. That is very important part to develop your Excel sheet and develop your data. Now, how we can use this option? For example, in the last workshop, I already discussed this point. So if you want to categorize, better you just read the abstract of each paper and create one table or one row or one column in your Excel sheet with the type of methodology. For example, qualitative, quantitative, mixed method, review papers, or all this. So I'm not interested in qualitative or review papers. So I can just use these pivot tables and I can extract only those which are using quantitative data. So this Excel sheet option is making your work a lot of easy. I hope so everybody can understand. I saw many people who are spending 6 months and more to create these research tables. Many of my students have did this mistake also. So I don't want to make you to do these mistakes, because now we are living in the digital ages. So every work is quick and the lifespan of the research is also shorter now. So please use these techniques and tools to make your work easy. Don't do a lot of hassles. Doing smart work and reaching to your accurate results is very important nowadays. Okay, so don't waste your time spending a lot of time in creating these type of table. Use this pivot table option and you can learn a lot more new option very easily. Okay, now I think for today these options are enough, because I don't want to give you a lot of knowledge at one day, and in that case the knowledge would be overloaded. So let's try to learn and practice those techniques which I told you today, and believe me, if you are using them in your research, you will see your options, or you will see your improvement in your research. Okay, now let's move back to our point. So we are done with the ISI Web of Science. It is similar to Scopus, but with the different options which I told you today. Okay, now let's conclude our session because it's more than 1 hour now, and the most important part in doing online lectures is to retain our audience. When you are listening me, it is, I don't think so the time spent should be more than 1 hour, and I know most of my students, once they join, they may be doing something else while they are looking at the online lecture. So I don't want to do that thing. So please make sure you have attended it well and you have practiced it well, because some of my students are going to give me some assignment on this soon or later, or the other students or other faculty members or friends who are attending this session, they can practice this, and if you have any difficulties, we can collaborate and we can see how we can move further from this. But remember, systematic literature reviews are very much in, and it provides you ability to do a lot of research, a good research in very simple way. So just you have to realize the strength of the databases you already have in your on your fingertips. So that is what my lesson for today. But before leaving, my friends, you have to remember 4 very important messages. The first thing, clear your research question. I started with it and I'm going to close my session with it. If your research question is not clear, no matter how good you are at data analysis, no matter how good you are doing with the research, Excel or all other options are irrelevant if you are not doing your research question or you are not giving your clear research question. So make sure, think again and again and again when you are doing with your research question. In one research, maybe multiple research question. If you have multiple research question, you have to do literature review multiple times. But never mind, we have a lot of options to do it quickly. So don't worry about that part, but make sure your research question is clear. Then understandings of key terms. I highlighted one very important issue today. Those who are familiar with searching these key terms and doing this research, they understood my point maybe, because that point is very important. Sometimes we miss a lot of papers because we are not using key terms accurately with these Boolean operators, but also you can use this proximity operator, especially same. Same is very important proximity operator. You have to do some practice. Unfortunately, I miss a couple of times because I'm also not very much familiar of using this term, but I would be using this in future more and more, and hopefully I would be better on in the future also. Okay, now let's third thing, understand the mechanism which I just discussed. So you have to learn the keywords, how they work, and whether you are giving the right keywords and the mechanism of your output is clear or not. So means that when you enter any keywords, there should be a clear output for that keywords. Okay, so you have to understand when you do one keyword, what is the output, and then you do another keyword, so what is the output. So you can understand the mechanisms of each database. So each database is different. Scopus is different. Web of Science is entirely different. And then we have our Google Scholar, that is also very much different. Okay, but some of us, we don't have access to Scopus and Web of Sciences. Most of us, my friends who are joining me from Pakistan, we know we face this difficulty a lot. So for that, in my last lecture, second lecture of systematic literature review series, I give you one website and the software which is basically publish or perish. So by using that website or that software, you can do a lot of research, or you can use that in systematic literature review. Okay, now finally, one thing which I already told you multiple times, don't include multiple concepts in your literature review. That is very important and very the key factors. You just make it simple. The tip is to make it very simple. Okay, I think with this I conclude my session, and I hope so it was a learning session and I am able to take your questions. So if there is any question, you can talk. Thank you very much. Okay. You can read.
Our first question is coming from Maria Shahid. She is asking, are mixed method research studies research questions worded differently than the quantitative and qualitative questions?
Okay, for the mixed method research questions or mixed method research, that is entirely different. I have a video on this where I discuss about epistemology, ontology, and how it is related with your research method. So you can see that, you can watch out that video. I'll try to put the link in the description. So in that video, I discuss what form your research question. In the quantitative research, what type of questions are there? Because quantitative is more on positivist side, so you cannot see the same question in the qualitative or other method, because the investigation method is different. Okay, try to understand. When we do positivism, means that when we do our research in the quantitative manner, it means that we are using a different set of research options. Okay, because we have to answer the question with the help of data. When the question is about the data, you have to ask question. Okay, when the question is about views, for example, if I ask you one question, so what do you think, what is the future of digital technologies? Now this is a very clearly a qualitative or interpretive question. The second question, for example, is there any relationship between digital technologies and healthcare? Now this is a quantitative. So in the mixed method, we use these both type of questions because there are different options available in mixed method. For example, we can do triangulation. We can find out answer from one question in one method, and then we can confirm that finding in the other. That is called triangulation. We can do the development. So mixed method have so many options. Okay, and it can be sequential or it can be parallel. So it means that all the methods you are using in the mixed method, they have their own type of the research question. So you cannot use that same research question within the systematic literature review. Here, systematic literature review has very simple research questions and very clear. Okay.
She has another question. Do we have to put inverted commas always while searching in the web of science search engine?
It depends on when you are joining two different keywords, for example, digital and technologies. So digital technologies is one keyword. When you have multiple words in your one keyword, you have to use inverted commas. For example, digital technologies. If you don't use this, so system will automatically take digital and technology. So it will give you answers of all those papers which have digital or and they have technologies. Okay, so if you want to make it one keyword, so you have to use keywords, inverted commas in the keyword.
Another question from Isak Azia. Is there an asymmetric research, and how it is different from systematic research? Sorry, asymmetric. Is there a
Asymmetric.
asymmetric?
Okay. Okay. Now different types of the research have different options and different methodology. Remember, here I'm talking about the systematic literature. Systematic literature review follows a very clear methodology which is very much different with the systematic, asymmetric, or qualitative or quantitative, any other research. So this is a complete different types of the research. Okay, so clear, this is not same, it is a very different type of research. Okay. Okay.
Another question from Shreya Mukherjee. Can we use and or together in one line as an operator?
Yes, we can use multiple Boolean operators, and we can use different set of arrangement, and it is a very good practice to use multiple Boolean operators in one keyword or in one key search, because it will give you a very precise result. Yes, we can use, and you should use that.
Question from Muinat. How do I merge extracted data from different databases such as Scopus, Web of Science, and Google Scholar in one sheet?
Okay, this question is very important and very operational in nature. I think you have already done some work on the systematic literature review. That is why you are asking. Okay, there is a simple answer to this question. What we can do is we can find out, we can extract different types of the sheet, but we can make one sheet as a baseline. For example, I'm using this Web of Science sheet as a baseline, and then I have to copy and paste the columns of different sheets from at the end of this database, and then you can remove duplicate from the duplicate remove option from the Excel. Okay, so it will give you ability to remove duplicates, and also you can import different types of the result. Then there is another option, we call it merge. So Excel sheet give you option to merge 2 or 3 different sheets, but remember headings should be same. The headers, if they are using, no matter the column numbers are different, but header are using same keyword, then you can merge. But most of the time Scopus have different keywords and headers, and Web of Science have different headers. So what you need to do is you have to do some manual work. You have to copy and paste each column beneath the column which we are using from the Web of Science. So a little bit manual work, but it's worth doing it. So please continue your work with this approach. Okay.
Next, Madam Mustari is asking to explain again the word same and near.
Okay, same is, we use same because same, it will tell us, or it will give us, or it will return the query with maybe digital and technologies. Between these digital and technologies there should be different words, so it will take all of them. It is not just talking about digital technologies, but it is digital same technologies, means that digital and the technologies, they can be together or they can be maximum 15 words apart. Okay, so this is how same query works. But the near query is more on toward the location. For example, different publisher, for example Springer is in Netherlands also, in India also, in different countries also. So what we can do, Springer, then we can say okay Netherlands, and then we can say near, and then we can say okay India, or for any other country, for example. So it will give you option or results of all those queries which have been by the publisher from Netherlands, and also from the other region which I mentioned, India or any other country. So you can use this near function to find out the article from different regions. Okay, so you can specify. So near is more towards the region. The same is between the keywords and the words between your two keywords. Okay.
Question from Muhammad Hassan Reza. He's saying, if we consider only one source, that is Scopus or Web of Science, will it be suitable for a good paper?
Okay, it depends on the databases, and it depends on where you are going to publish. If it is a paper for thesis, I'm sure it is okay, but for publishing paper you have to learn the game. If you are sending your paper into a journal which is ISI index and highly cited or impact factor journal, then use ISI is better. Using one is okay, but which one is a question. You cannot submit any paper to Scopus which is using ISI only. It is less likely to be accepted, in my opinion. This is my practical perception. Maybe it is wrong, but one database is okay until you are submitting to a very specific journal. But I'm sure you can use different databases. It will be good and it will give you better options. I would suggest to use at least 2 databases or 3, especially PubMed, Scopus or Web of Sciences. I think it is better, it is a good practice to use multiple, but one is also acceptable, no problem with that.
Our second last question is coming from our participants. For those of us whose university have not provided us with the database like Web of Science or Scopus, what can we do? Any alternative for that?
I think I have already answered this question, because we face this difficulty a lot in our country. So what we can do is There is another website I already mentioned, Publish or Perish. You can extract data in the Excel sheet from that, and you can use Mendeley to do that also. So all these options I have provided in my previous videos, so you can use those videos to see whether when you don't have any access to Scopus or Web of Sciences, so how you can export your data set. Okay, thank you.
Our last question is coming from Imad Rahim. When is the appropriate to use abbreviation of some concepts within a paper? For instance, when we try to reduce the similarity index with repetitive concept full form.
Okay, you can use abbreviations, so I am sure the people are using it, but I don't use it. I don't consider this as a good practice because it decreases the readability of your paper, your concept. So don't use abbreviations. There is no problem. You can use complete words, and by reducing these abbreviations, you can just reduce 1 to 2% of your plagiarism or similarity. So it will not make any effect, but the good practice is don't use abbreviation because it will give you a clear readability, because don't consider your audience know everything, your readers know everything. It is your research, it is your product, so you have to make it in a way everybody is interested to read it. So when we use abbreviation, it is difficult for readers to understand those concepts because they have to refer back to the main concept again and again. So I would not recommend you to use any abbreviation until and unless it is necessary. I see many of the research people, even in the top title, they are using abbreviation. So never use abbreviation in the title, never use abbreviation in the abstract at least, okay? So abbreviation, this is my personal opinion, not a very authentic opinion from any other researcher. The other researcher may have different options or different understanding, but in my case, I don't recommend you to write abbreviations everywhere, okay? I hope so. I have cleared many of these questions. Is there any question left?
Two more questions just
Okay.
came up. What is the difference between scoping review and SLR?
Okay, the scoping review is basically based on the concept or the scope you are looking into, okay? For example, I'm interested in looking at only positive sides of the technology. Now, this is a scope I have defined for my literature. So I'm taking those articles, those papers which are discussing this point. While the systematic literature review is a truly scientific method where you are not concerned with the topics or you are not concerned with what is inside the paper until you access it and then you read it, because we are not interested in the particular format. We are trying to overview all available literature and highlight the limitations on the literature using SLR format. Scoping review is a bit different, or maybe we can consider a subset of systematic literature review. Although the method we use same, but we narrow down the scope of our literature. We do this when we have a lot of studies on the similar concept, okay? So in that case, you can do the scoping review, okay?
The last question, how to conduct a thematic analysis in SLR or scoping review?
Okay, thematic analysis is good technique. I used one of my previous videos also, and I gave you 2 links to my papers also. You can see that we have used this thematic approach in systematic literature. You can use any software to do that, or either any bibliometric which is based on the text mining, or you can use NVivo or Atlas. All those softwares are available. You can use these software in order to do the thematic analysis, but thematic analysis can be done on the Excel sheets which we have already exported. So it would be a very good study if you start with the systematic literature review process, bring those paper in and do thematic review, and then you classify your literature. This is an excellent approach. If you do any study like this, I personally feel there is a high possibility to get that paper published in high impact journal. So you can use this thematic analysis in the systematic literature review, and you can follow my papers on this. It is already available. Okay. Thank you, Sonia. On any other question? Done? Okay. Thank you very much. All of you, thank you very much for watching me, and have a very blessed day, very happy day. Thank you very much, and see you again. Allah Hafiz, and stay healthy.